It also explains how false memories of abuse can be created by people who misunderstand the dream process. But you see, with a dream theory, this is what happens. Supposing you go to a psychotherapist with a problem, maybe it's bulimia or depression or whatever, and the psychotherapist has this belief, because they've been reading all this literature and going to these kind of classes, that it's somewhere or other there must be repressed memories of abuse in your childhood. And they suggest this to you. They sort of introduce this idea. They might say something like, well, it's been shown that in the case of bulimia, sort of 80% of bulimic cases is to do with sexual abuse in your childhood. And the person says, well, I don't think I was sexually abused. Ah, yes, well, perhaps you weren't. But nevertheless, it's something we have to consider, you see. Now, what does that person do, the patient? They go home and they start ruminating. Well, supposing, gosh, yes, I hadn't thought of that. I never really liked Uncle Jack very much, or something like that. Perhaps something happened. So they're creating little worries and little thoughts, and they're emotionally arousing one, because to do with whether or not they were sexually abused as children, even though they've got no memory of it prior to this at all. And then they have a dream, which is vaguely sort of symbolically to do with this sort of issue, to do with abuse and sex and so forth. And they go back to their therapist and tell the therapist this dream. And then the therapist says, oh, that shows you that your unconscious mind is getting ready in this safe environment with me, to explore these issues. They use normalizations like those, to get back to the root cause of your problem. It's baloney. But the person starts to believe, well, perhaps I was abused, you see. And then they start to confabulate, just as you do in hypnosis, and invent stuff. We came across one case which formed part of a film. There was some social workers that had convinced this young woman that she had been sexually abused and satanically abused by countless men and so forth. And her parents were involved and all this sort of thing, and there was hysteria was building up, and the police got involved, and the police surgeon examined the girl, and she was still a virgin. And so this kind of thing was happening, but still she was coming up with these fantasies, even after this evidence had been produced, that the surgeon was absolutely no way she suffered that kind of abuse. And it's still going on today, actually. It's not completely out of the system, because it's very hard once people take on a belief system. You still hear, these experts in satanic abuse, experts in recovered memory and so on, coming up and doing damage to people.